See all of you and remember that we are one and together as we worship together today. And with this, I would like to welcome our worship associate, Mary McManus.
Good morning, y'all. I am Mary McManus. My pronouns are they, she, and I am your worship associate for today. And our opening words are on this iPad. Okay. Our opening words are from Dolly Parton's commencement speech at the University of Tennessee in 2009. Do not confuse dreams with wishes. There is a difference. Dreams are where you visualize yourself being successful at what's important to you to accomplish. Dreams build convictions because you work hard to pay the price to make sure they come true. Wishes are hoping good things will happen to you, but there is no fire in your gut that causes you to put everything forth to overcome all the obstacles. So you have to dream more and never, ever, ever blame somebody else if it doesn't happen. That is in your department. Join me as we recite our covenant and our middle and high school youth who joined us at our overnight last night, if you would like to, may join me in lighting our chalice. Anybody? We got one. Love is the doctrine of this congregation. The quest for truth is our sacrament, and service is our prayer. To dwell together in peace, to seek knowledge in freedom, to share our strength in fellowship, thus do we covenant. Thank you, guys. We had a blast last night. Everything going on at UUCP can be found on our website, phoenixuu.org, and our weekly newsletter, Compass. At noon after the service today in Annex B, Jan Kaplan, Donna Featherston, and Liz Merchant will lead a discussion on the art of pilgrimage, what pilgrimage means. It will also be on Zoom, and the link is in Compass. The link is in Compass. You won't want to miss this special discussion. The Heat Relief Initiative is ongoing, as is the drive to get youth voters registered for the 2024 general election. Information about both opportunities to serve is on the UUCP website. The Perez family invites you to celebrate Nigel's 15th birthday. On Saturday, August 26th at 2 p.m., right here in the sanctuary. We will have ceremony, celebration, and dancing. Everyone is welcome. Nigel asks that folks make and bring their favorite paper airplane. He suggests checking out tutorials online. Happy early birthday, Nigel. For our offering, we share the plate each week between UUCP and a different organization as a way to reflect our values. For August 2023, our Share the Plate partner is the Maryland School. The Maryland School's mission is for its pre-kindergarten through 8th grade students to achieve success for all every day in every way. Several congregants in our community have an active relationship with the Maryland School through offering tutoring and expanding its outdoor education and gardening programs for its students. Many outdoor extracurricular activities, the very ones that teach children how to tune in to the sensory wisdom of their bodies, are severely underfunded in Phoenix school budgets. Share the Plate for the month of August will go to the Maryland School, where UUCP has been a community partner for many years. The school has an active garden program, and this year is expanding into a broader outdoor education program. Teachers will be encouraged and mentored to spend more of their class time outside with their regular lessons and additional activities to connect students to the natural world. Research shows that this kind of program has a significant impact on the general well-being of students and improves their academic performance. Funds contributed by UUCP members and friends will help to supply the outdoor areas with more tables and equipment to support this program. Whatever you can give will be much appreciated by Maryland school students. Ushers, please come to the front to collect our offering. For all that you give to our congregation and to the Maryland School in creating pleasure and joy in our communities, we are so grateful.
Good morning, everyone. I am Katie Resendez. I'm the Director of Children's Ministries here at UUC Phoenix. Yay, I love my job. I got to spend the night here. Sleeping at church is awesome. It helps that we have a couch that turns into a bed, but don't tell the kids that. I want to invite anyone who'd like a different spot to sit in for a moment to come on up front. And I've got a story for you. I kind of want to start telling you stories from last night, but we like consent, right? So I'm not going to share those. But I will tell you it was amazing that for the first time since November 2019, we had a youth overnight. And at one point last night, there were 30 people here on campus who were youth and adults supporting youth. And never in my 8 years working here, 9 years working here, have I ever seen that kind of support. So thank you, thank you, thank you. Anything but country. See, growing up, when you got in someone's car, they would immediately ask you, what kind of music do you want to listen to? Or they'd say, what station? And where I grew up, the required answer was anything but country. Right? And see, I liked country music, and I went to these people's houses and I saw their tape decks, and their tape decks were full of country. And their radio stations were all tuned to 107.7 WGNA. Okay, something called 107.7 WGNA that you have to say like this is a country station. But we all knew we had to say when we got in that car, anything but country, right? Because we were actually saying something different. We were saying something about where we were from and who we were and how where we grew up affected what we liked and who we would be and how we dressed and how we talked. See, I'm going to say I was lucky because I grew up in Western Massachusetts, but yes, in the mountains and yes, rural. I grew up in a town that less people lived in than live on my block in Phoenix. But we didn't have an accent. We say mountain just like the rest of you say mountain. It's fine. But I actually learned to talk in a different state, in a different city, where when I get really tired, I talk like this. But I learned to cover that up. The exact same way I learned to say anything but country. In 1946, in Pittman Center, Tennessee, on the banks of the Little Pigeon River, Avery Lee and Robert Lee Parton gave birth to their fourth child of what would be 12. Her name was Miss Dolly Rebecca. And by the time she was 6, she was performing at church. She got her first guitar at 7. It was handmade. But everyone saw how much she loved it. And so her uncle got her a real guitar when she was 8. This was a big deal. You see, her family had been sharecroppers. That means that they worked other people's land and farmed other people's land and had to pay those people to farm that land and then also had to give them some of those crops. So they were poor. And in fact, Dolly Parton has said that she was dirt poor. As she grew up, her family eventually did have their own land. They moved to a plot, but they still lived in a one-room cabin for most of her life. And she loved her family very, very much. And she said that even though her father couldn't read, he was illiterate, he was the wisest man she ever met. But that literacy thing became really important to her. And she worked really hard at school. And she loved doing that work, and she loved learning. And she loved her family even when it was hard to love them. And we all go through those times where it's hard to love our family. And she loved herself even when it was hard to love herself. And she actually made it through high school. She kept singing, she kept performing all of those things. Actually, by the time she was 13, she was performing the song Puppy Love on stage at the Grand Ole Opry, which is a really big deal. And if you're not a kid who grew up back east, you're like, what are you talking about? It's awesome, I promise, okay? At the Grand Ole Opry, she met the Man in Black. She met Johnny Cash. And when she talked to him, everyone else asked her, what grade are you in school? What are you gonna be? Where do you wanna live? Do you like babies? Because that's what we should ask 13-year-olds. But Johnny Cash didn't. He asked her what she liked to do. And she said, this, because she loved to perform. And everyone else was pushing her to go through school, figure out what she could do, who she could be. You're so smart, you could be a doctor. And the Man in Black, Johnny Cash, told Dolly Parton, live your dream. Do the thing. Don't let other people shutter that for you. I'm sure he said it in a much lower voice, less words, way more gravelly. But I can't do that, sorry. But it's amazing to think that this 13-year-old girl was encouraged by someone who didn't look at her and say, what are you gonna do for work when you get older? Right? That's pretty phenomenal. But it wasn't just him. Lots of people encouraged her, and she encouraged herself, and she wrote tons of music, she performed, and she figured out what her look was and who she was. And when she graduated high school, the very next day, she moved to Nashville, Tennessee. And she became extremely famous. When I was a kid, she was the height of glamour. Blonde hair, big, big, big. I didn't realize it was a wig until I was like 12, but it was amazing. Lots of makeup, blue eyeshadow, red lips, all sorts of things. Also, we talked about her body all the time. And this was a woman whose body was noticeable because she took her chest and put it up here. She took her waist and made it tiny, and she wore big old dresses and sequins and all sorts of stuff. And it wasn't on display for someone else. It wasn't because she was out there trying to court someone. She wasn't trying to romance someone with her tiny little waist. It was her look and how she owned it. Her music was the same too. She did sing about love, but she also sang about home, and she sang about family. She sang about place. She sang about being dirt poor. She is a phenomenal woman. And I think about that line of anything but country. And I think about how I've tried to hide my accent when I was little. Now it comes natural. I think about when people talk about rednecks and hillbillies, what they're actually saying. And I think about when I was a kid. I think I was 7, and someone asked me what I wanted to do when I grew up, and I said, live in a city. I think about what that meant. And also I think about pride and wanting to be proud. So this week, I'm gonna try to be a little bit more Dolly. I'm gonna be more proud and more loud this week about where I came from. I'm gonna let my voice slip into the accent. And when I get in my van on the way home today, I'm just gonna listen to country. Thank you so much.
So here's a tune from Appalachia, from Tennessee, in that region, from that musical culture that's so beautiful. And this is a song in Bob's family, so we've invited Bob's daughter, Penelope Davis, to lead this one with us.
I was standing by my window on a cold and cloudy day when I saw the hearse come rolling forth to carry my mother away. May the circle sing along. Me unbroken by and by, Lord, by and by, where the better world awaiting in the sky, Lord, in the sky. I said, Undertaker, won't you please? Body, you're the carrying, Lord, I hate to see her go. May the circle be unbroken by and by, Lord, by and by. There's a better all the way in the sky. Hold up and be brave, but I could not hide my sorrow when they laid her in the grave. Sing with me, where the circle be unbroken by and by, lost my mother. She was gone. All my brothers
and sisters crying
in a home so sad and alone. May the circle be unbroken by and by, Lord, by and by. It's a question. There's a better world awaiting in the sky, Lord, in the sky. Come on now, is a circle be unbroken by and by, Lord, by and by. Is there a better world awaiting in the sky, Lord, in the sky?
Wow. Thank you. Thank you, Penelope. And Bob, you too. It is the time when we share the joys and sorrows of our community. Being together, it is good to share and to support each other and to connect. Folks on Zoom, please feel free to enter any joys and sorrows into the chat, putting your name at the beginning. For those in person, the joys and sorrows are being delivered to me right here. It's on the table in the back if you ever want to share anything. Let us take a deep breath as we center ourselves and create space for the joys and sorrows of our community. I do want to take a moment of personal privilege, and I wish for you to send joy and sorrow to my email box. It is currently full with over 400 emails. If you have something important that you need from me, please resend it, okay? It may take a little while. I have from Afia, and where's Afia and Miss Bev? Right there. Afia says, my mom finished her radiation therapy on Monday for breast cancer. We all hope for continued good news. I told Miss Bev, you did a big thing. You did a big thing, Miss Bev. We're really glad you are here. Looking online, I've got folks, let me see. Let me make sure. Yep. From Amy Miskell, Dolly Parton, I think it was, donated $1 million for COVID research, allowing this country, whoever wanted to be safer, to get COVID vaccinations much sooner. And Amy also says that she grew up in that same area in Ozark country and has a twang as well. Chrissy says, good morning from soggy San Diego. Chrissy, we are sending you and all of your Southern California and Mexican friends much love this morning, and hoping that the flooding is minimal and that your safety is paramount. From Danny in the video booth, joy to my wonderful friend Liz, the Zoom host. She just got a wonderful job as a remote online tutor that she worked very hard to get. I'm very proud of her. Congratulations, Liz. We're so happy for you. And a joy from Eric Ariano. I've now been in Arizona for a week after my employer made me suddenly move back to Arizona after living in Mexico for a year and a half. While I miss Mexico, it's been great reconnecting with people and our congregation. There's a chance I can move back in 2024. From Linda Dean, Joy, my grandson Seamus is in Africa working with children. Sending you and your grandson much love. And Margarita and Will say good morning from smoky British Columbia. From Will and Margarita, we are safe. So may that all continue to be so. Let's take a moment for prayer and meditation. I am so aware that for some of us, this is the only time all week that we get to stop and take a breath. I invite you to center yourselves, take a deep breath, settle into your body. As we contemplate the role of music in our lives, the role of musicians, the feelings that come from it all, let us be with what we hear, what we see, and what we are. These are the words from Maria Teresa Tet Gustillo Gallardo, our UU minister serving in the Philippines. Source of life, taker of life, transformer of life, life itself. We implore you to hear us. Let us hear ourselves. Let us hear our own cries for help. Let us hear the pangs that rise from our bodies. Let us hear our bodies. Let us hear our breaths. Let us hear our living soul, its bellowing laughter and unquenchable fire. Let us hear our being moaning under the burdens of our own doing. Let us hear our own weight crush the earth which nourishes us. Let us hear ourselves cry out for that nourishment. Let us hear our own nature longing to be. Let us hear our loving being longing to see. We implore you to see us. Let us see ourselves. Let us see that we are alone, that life has riches and we can breathe them all in, that we need not be afraid, but instead take comfort. Let us see in order to distinguish what is right and what is true. Let us see the effervescent longings of others to like us without us feeling obliged. Let us see the lakes of furious madness that pull us under. Let us see what forces us to succumb to wrongs. Let us see that singular moment when we could say no with triumph, to step back, look in, and laugh. Let us see that lost ground that all humanity walk on as if they were one people. Let us see the versions of ourselves that could have been if we had lived those lives we don't know. Let us see and accept who they have become that we are not. We implore you, be us, be in us, be of us, before us. Let us be that gardener who thinks not of grand schemes as she touches the growing wonder of flowers. Let us be that satisfied customer, the one who looks foolish because they are happy. Let us be that strange person who is not overcritical or overanalyzing, who can let life be. Let us be that retired actor, tired of being the drama king. He is no longer in a play. Let us be that musician who breaks barriers and is apologetically herself. Let us be that ambitious girl whose home is so far from school and she has to trek mountains clutching to our dreams. Let us be the person who understands that power does not make everything legitimate. Let us be that person who comes here today to understand. Let us be here today. Join me in a moment of silence. May it be so.
It's better this way.
It rained last night. That's what's happening.
Okay. So here's an autobiographical song from Dolly. Back through the years I go wandering once again, back to the seasons of my youth. I recall a box of rags that someone gave us, and how my mama put those rags to use. There were rags of many colors, but every piece was small, and I didn't have a coat, and it was way down in the fall. Mama sewed the rags together, so in every piece with love she made my coat of many colors that I was so proud of. And as she sewed, she told a story from the Bible she had read about a coat of many colors Joseph wore, and then she said, perhaps this coat will bring you good luck and happiness. And I just couldn't wait to wear it, and Mama blessed it with a kiss. My coat of many colors that my mama made for me, made only from rags, but I wore it so proudly. Although we had no money, I was rich as I could be in my coat of many colors my mama made for me. So with patches on my breeches and holes in both my shoes, in my coat of many colors, I hurried off to school just to find the others laughing and making fun of me in my coat of many colors my mama made for me. And oh, I couldn't understand it, for I felt I was rich, and I told them of the love my mama sewed in every stitch. And I told them all the story Mama told me while she sewed, and how my coat of many colors was worth more than all their clothes. But they didn't understand it, and I tried to make them see that one is only poor only if they choose to be. Now I know we had no money, but I was rich as I could be. In my coat of many colors, my mama made for me, made just for me.
I am really glad to be speaking to all of you today. But I know that this reflection is going to be different than what I normally do when I'm up here. I can usually get up here and be bubbly and happy and crack jokes, but this week is different for me. Some of you may know this, but Friday marked 3 years since my brother passed away. And I really couldn't imagine coming up here and not talking about it. So thank you all for holding space for me right now. I was trying to come up with an idea for this service, and I was searching for a Dolly song to maybe sing as a tribute. You can thank me for deciding not to sing. And while I was searching, I found out that Dolly lost a brother when she was a kid. Since she grew up in such a large family, this was the baby she was supposed to take care of, and he died before she got the chance. And even though our experiences are different, I know what it's like to dream about a future for a person and building a relationship with a sibling, only to have that slip out of your hands. It's gutting. Dolly said it crushed her and her family. She still gets choked up talking about it. I can't blame her. But I look at what happened to Dolly, and I look at what Dolly has now and what she does now, and I can see that you can carry these experiences with you without letting them weigh you down. You don't have to get stuck. They shape you, for sure, but you don't have to become them. They don't have to define you. You don't have to become jaded or cynical. I certainly would not describe Dolly Parton as either of those things. She's one of the most loving, generous people on this planet. Some people might look at her and see her as an inspiration, and she definitely is. But I look at her and I see her as a sign of hope for myself. She's been through so much, and she didn't get stuck. She makes space for the sadness and the grief, but it doesn't consume her. And if she didn't get stuck, I certainly don't have to get stuck. I love him and I miss him, but I'm not stuck. Thank you.
It is fair to say I'm not used to this. Some people call her the Dolly Mama. I like to think of her as Saint Dolly. After all, we aren't the Catholic Church, so we can name anyone we want as a saint. As an FYI, I also consider as saints Rachel Maddow, Maya Angelou, Ruth Bader Ginsburg, Greta Thunberg, James Baldwin, and Brandi Carlile as well. The Catholics state that a person needs miracles before they can be sainted. What constitutes a miracle if you're a UU? Something centered in love, something that works against the systems that would hold us down? If so, beloveds, then Dolly Parton is a bona fide saint for sure. In the way that others try to emulate their saints, I want us to emulate ours. Simply, I want us to think about how we can be like Dolly. And maybe even take the religious metaphor a little bit further, and we can offer the Dolly commandments. What do we think? What do you think, Mary?
Yup. Be like Dolly.
What, y'all want to try it?
Be like Dolly.
Very good. Dolly released her first album in 1967. She is still recording. She is 77 years old now. She is not just a singer and songwriter, but also an actress, earning a Golden Globe, and a philanthropist and a businesswoman. This past year, I happened to tune in to the NBC's New Year's Eve bash with Miley Cyrus, and believe me, the attraction was not Miley Cyrus, it was that she was doing it with Dolly Parton. And just 2 days ago, she did make a miracle. She released a single with the two remaining Beatles, Paul McCartney and Ringo Starr, and the new version of Let It Be is sublime. I encourage you all to listen to it on the way home today. Unlike Madonna, who could also be qualified potentially for sainthood, and I'm not talking about the mother of Jesus, I'm talking about the Madonna. Madonna, who has reinvented herself over and over so many times, Dolly has stayed relevant by being truly, deeply, honestly, authentically herself. She has honored her roots, but also been willing to perform with a wide range of artists, and she has always displayed an awareness of who she is and a humility of that is truly refreshing. She said, "I know who I am. I know what I can do and can't do. I know what I will and won't do. I know what I'm capable of, and I don't agree to do things I don't think I can pull off." This is radical love and understanding of who she is. So the first Dolly commandment is, thou shalt be honestly yourself.
Be like Dolly.
She says, when I got something to say, I'll say it. One of the reasons Dolly has stayed popular is because in her songs and her words, she has spoken about the entire human experience. Love and loss and death, happiness and heartbreak and poverty and morality. Her unflinching honesty touches people in deep ways. Her 1975 song, The Bargain Store, was about the messy ups and downs, but it was banned because it had suggestive lyrics. Same with the song, Touch Your Woman. When talking about the bargain store, Dolly said, I felt black and blue, and I just wanted to heal back up and mend myself back together and get on with my life. So, thou shalt speak thou's personal truth.
Be like Dolly.
In over a half a century of society dictating how women should look, what is appropriate to wear, what is sexualized and not, what makeup is appropriate, and what makes someone go over this line that society says there is, what hairstyles are in or not, Dolly has disposed with all of that and decided that she will wear what she wants, have her hair, her body, her makeup, all of it as she wants. There is lipstick. They look like pills. I swear they're not. They're capsules. Do you all see them around? Those are lipsticks, individual ones. Don't share them. They are, let's not spread any more germs. And there also is blue eyeshadow around with additional Q-tips. And I encourage you all, no matter how you identify, to put this on. Try it on and be more like Dolly. She said, a lot of people said that would have done better in my career if I hadn't looked so cheap and gaudy. But I dress to be comfortable for me, and you shouldn't be blamed because you want to look pretty. She has also said, I'm not offended by the dumb blonde jokes because I know that I'm not dumb. I also know I'm not blonde. Thou shalt express thyself as thou wishes.
Be like Dolly.
Dolly knows where she comes from, as we heard from Katie's story, and she gives back generously. She started the Dollywood Foundation in 1986 and started by offering scholarships to high school students where she came from, Sevier County, Tennessee. Then she started the Imagination Library, which distributes free books to children monthly through the age of 5. Starting in Sevier County, but now she works with any area that wants to partner with her, and children get books across the United States and across the world. She supports many nonprofit organizations that aim to bring education and poverty relief, especially in East Tennessee. In this age where celebrities have gotten polarized and have lost where they come from, Dolly has always known what her values are and crosses all different lines. She knows where she comes from, and she gives what she can to help make the world a better place. Thou shalt give back what thou can.
Be like Dolly.
Dolly and her husband, Carl Dean, have been married for 57 years. He's retired from running a road asphalt business in Nashville. He has never liked the spotlight, and she jokes that he has only ever seen her perform once. While she is a very public persona, her private life is private and her marriage is very personal. She has clear boundaries, and she and her husband accept each other for who they are. And she has notoriously extended that acceptance to others. She has performed with Christian churches and drag queens. She has been on Playboy and women's rights posters. She said, I just think everyone should be loved and accepted for exactly who they are and what they are, and we should love ourselves exactly for who and how we are. Duh. Her love and acceptance are radically inclusive. Thou shalt accept others for who they are.
Be like Dolly.
So how do you know Saint Dolly? As the actress in 9 to 5 or Steel Magnolias? As the writer of I'll Always Love You or Jolene? As the founder of Dollywood? As a philanthropist? As a proud country girl? For her iconic style? I want to give you the chance to say how you think of Dolly and how you wish to be like Dolly. I invite you to turn to a neighbor or two. Online folks, your neighbors are the others in the chat, and I'd like you to talk about how you can be like Dolly this week. What inspires you about her radical love? I'll give you about 4 or 5 minutes, and remember,
Be like Dolly.
Talk. Go for it. Huh? Yeah.
Check 1, check 2. You're welcome to keep talking with each other in just a few minutes after the service. You can go right back to that conversation. But right now, I want your help. Dolly Parton wrote one of the sweetest goodbye songs ever. You know, other performers did well with it, but it's a Dolly Parton song. I'm going to start with the verse. I very much hope you'll stand up and help me out on the refrain at least, and any note you end up on is perfect. If I should stay, I would only be in your way, so I'll go, but I know I'll think of you every step of the way. Here we go, give me a hand. And I will always love you. Oh, bittersweet memories, that's all I'm taking with me. So goodbye, please don't cry. We both know I'm not what you need. Help me out. And I will always love you. I hope life treats you kind, and I hope you have all that you've dreamed of, and I wish to you joy and happiness, but above all this, I wish you love. And I will always love you. We'll always love you. We'll always love you. I will always love you. Thanks, all.
Okay, I've heard Dolly do it, I've heard Whitney do it. That might be my favorite version of that song. That's so good. Thank you all. In a moment, we will have coffee hour, both in person and online. We've got a number of things going on after service, but also take a moment to meet each other, especially say hi to our new faces and introduce yourself, and continue your conversations on how you will be like Dolly. Adult and children's activities will begin at noon in order to give people a chance to get something at coffee hour. So now, go forth in the love and the style of Dolly Parton. Be authentically you, accept people for who they authentically are, speak your truth, express yourself any damn way you want. Give what you can in ways that are meaningful to you, and be more like Dolly. Go in peace, go in love.